Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Strikers Are Key Draw 17. Now, it seems like a long time since Draw 16. Boys have been away from home for 5 out of the last 6 games. Lovely to be back here at Gander Green Lane. Even lovelier to garner the 3 points this evening in a very hard-earned, patient 1-0 win against an extremely well-organised Barnet side who are obviously rejuvenated under their new stewardship of Simon Bassey and Dave Anderson. Really hard team to break down. Our team had to really show different quality this evening, but show it they did. That's a fabulous 3 points and keeps us riding high at the top, just 1 point behind Torquay with a game in hand still, all to play for as we move on to Aldershot on Saturday. Whew, there we go, 3 more points. That's all. That's the most important thing of the evening. But for you, ladies and gentlemen, we're now about to do Strikers Are Key Draw 17. Now, what has been going on with Strikers Are Key, you might ask yourself. You might even have got a little bit confused about how much is in the pot, because it seems week after week after week the safe is not open. What is going on, you might like to ask? And a very fair question it would be, I say in response, because on the last 6 occasions our parsimonious safe here has not been opened, not relinquished its contents, and the booty therein has now grown to a substantial sum. My Strikers Are Key syndicate friends, how much money is in there, you might ask? Well, let me tell you. So, 6 unopened occasions, plus a number of goals. You may remember that the last time it was open was way back when we were all stress-free and watching a nice game against Boreham Wood, and our defenders took home the money on that particular occasion, £850 of it. We thought, great, let's see what's next. Wealdstone, Bromley, Wrexham, Yeovil, Stockport, Torquay, nada, nichts, rien, nothing. So to tonight and Barnet. Will the safe be opened? We're about to find out. How much money is in it? Well, courtesy of 3 of the 4 goals up at Altrincham being scored by designated strikers in the draw, Donovan Wilson getting 2 and Toby Show-Silver the other, plus Omar Bouguil's marvellous strike that got us the 3 points this evening, there is £1,950 in the safe. Ooh. Oh yes, £1,950. The question is, who is going to come along and conduct the draw this evening on your behalf? Well, I've got someone out of hibernation this evening for you, ladies and gentlemen, and he didn't actually know he was fulfilling the draw until I got hold of him in the corridor and said, "You're not going home straight after the game, are you, my friend?" And he said, "Well, I was going to." And I said, "Well, you're not anymore, because you're on camera, my friend." And he said, "Oh, good job I wore a blue shirt, because you're going to ask me to wear a blue jacket, aren't you? And it rather blends in, as you'll see in a minute." So who is this gentleman? Well, it's somebody whose work you are very, very familiar with, but you might not be able to place a face to the name. I'm going to put a stop to that, because in a moment you're going to know both his name and his face. But what's his work? Well, his work is splendid on behalf of this football club of ours, because our social media activity and outreach has extended out of all proportion in the last few years, and it's down to a lot of work from our social media outreach team, of which this gentleman is the pivot. 25,000 Twitter followers, about the same on Facebook, and more on Instagram, although I don't really understand how Instagram works, but people say it's rather fun and good and people communicate with each other on it. It's all great. I like letters and quills and pen and paper myself, but there we go. 30-odd thousand on that. And this gentleman does it all behind the scenes in a very unfussed fashion, keeping Twitter up to date. And it isn't just on match day, oh no. He's also very active throughout the week, keeping everyone informed through all our social media channels about what is going on. So who is it? Well, it gives me enormous and considerable pleasure this evening, especially after a 1-0 win, to invite to the Strikers Arcade stage its social media guru, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter guru indeed, Mr. Martin Feltham, ladies and gentlemen. Martin, how lovely to see you and welcome to the stage. And what a terrific job you do, if I may say, keeping everyone up to date with what's going on. So when did you start getting involved with all this kind of twittering and
a couple of seasons ago, started off. Obviously it's a lot easier when we're winning games and we're flying high in the league. Makes my job easy, and the followers keep on coming.
And it isn't just on match day, is it? As I was saying there earlier, you've got to keep your wits about you all week.
That's it. New stories going out all week. Got to keep on top of things.
Yeah, lots of contact with all the other officers in the club to make sure we know what's going on regarding players and all sorts of other activity at the club.
Absolutely.
Football and non-football.
Stories, players, community, foundation, women's teams, youth teams, trials.
So right across the club, the women's and girls section as well, you're heavily involved in making sure that you liaise with those. So it's a big old job.
It keeps me busy.
Great, and everyone really benefits, and especially at this time where obviously where people are relying so on communication through those channels. Your work is very well regarded and appreciated. So thank you very much for that. I have to ask you the question now because I always do like to ask a kind of little bit off the wall question. You're standing here and you're watching the game and you're pacing, because I was watching you this evening.
Oh yeah.
70 minutes, Omar Bouguil scores and there's a bit of this going on. The occasion where you almost just couldn't quite, just because you were so excited, getting the message out there, which one was it that you thought, I almost can't get the words out because that's just too good?
I mean, it's yeah. Obviously when the goal's going, it's getting them out as quickly as possible. It's yeah.
Those late ones, they're the best, aren't they?
They're the worst.
Worst for you, best for everyone else.
And then you get your graphics sorted, and then they put in a goal and have to change everything. So it's a bit of a delay.
Good for you, good for you. Well, it's a great job, well done. And what I'm going to ask you to do this evening is, this is a job that you haven't done before, but I'm sure you've seen it all being done by other people on the SUFCtv's rather wonderful coverage. I'm going to ask you to pick up the purple velvet bag and have a little rummage around while I get my lightened screen with all the numbers and names on it. Have a good old rummage around and then pluck one out at your leisure and show it to James on the camera here, and I'll see whether my eyeballs are working to see which number is
6.
Number 6. Let's just make sure that is 6 rather than 9. It is indeed 6. Okay. Syndicate number 6, potentially winning £1,950, is the ball owned by the syndicate Ride to Truro, Chris Halsey and Bobby Childs' dad. So, would you like to be Chris Halsey or Bobby Childs' dad this evening? Which of the two do you think would fit the persona just presently?
Let's go with Chris Halsey.
Chris Halsey, yeah. Excellent. Good choice, I'd say. Right now I'm going to ask you to pick up, in fact, before I do that, I'm just going to make sure that all 4 keys are in here and the safe is all nicely locked up. We just 4 keys, all they go in. This is a rather big drawer, this one. Shake it all about. Just make sure the safe is beautifully locked, remaining steadfast with its contents. There is the bag. Mr. Feltham, without looking inside, just pluck one of those keys out and give it your best shot. Pointy bit to the top if it works. Turn it to the left and the wheel to the right. Is it 7th time lucky, ladies and gentlemen? Or are we moving on? Is it 7th time lucky? Or are we moving on?
It looks like we're moving on.
Rather extraordinarily, I'm going to put you out of your misery, because this one here is the one which will open the safe, which I will now demonstrate to the audience, despite Mickey Joyce trying to, I don't quite know, putting his favourite tune on in the background. This is the one that he has his evening meal with every evening. It seems to entertain him. I don't know why he thinks it entertains everybody else, but there we go. Anyway, here we go. Open the safe, there we go, and therefore Chris Halsey and Bobby Childs' dad are £50 better off, but not, I'm afraid, £1,950 better off. And all that means is that we're going to move on Saturday to draw number 18 after the game against Aldershot. I don't think the person wearing the blue jacket will look quite as stylish as Mr. Feltham with his blue shirt and the backdrop
bring in a
today.
tailor next time.
But I might. As if this isn't tortuous enough for you, ladies and gentlemen, there's a red flashing light going on there, and we understand that we might have been cut out for a little bit. It might have been because the camera itself was so bored with the contents of what I was finishing off with. However, it's heartfelt nonetheless. So wherever it cut out, let me just draw this to a conclusion once more. Facts are, the safe, once again, proving difficult to crack, not open for the 7th consecutive time. So the owners of Ball 6, that's Chris Halsey and Bobby Charles' dad, only £50, which means that there's a rollover to the next draw on Saturday after the match with Aldershot, where there'll be a minimum of £2,150 up for grabs, plus any goals scored by the designated scorers. My thanks to Mr. Feltham for doing the draw on everyone's behalf today. Everyone's delighted with our superb 1-0 win today. Great to see those players coming off shouting and hollering again after another success this evening. We're right up there again. We move on to Saturday. Thank you for your support. Keep that coming. We're all forever Amber.